We're joined by Max Cookson, the 2023 Kawiki Driver Development Kawiki Cup champion. Max, how you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on.
When it comes to this type of a program, only a certain number, 7 or 5 drivers across the country get elected as a finalist. What drew you to the program that started back in 2015?
Really, there had been a handful of people, from the Northeast that had been in the program, and a lot of my good buddies in Wisconsin that I know, just through the racing world on iRace and whatnot, and just decided to apply, going into my second year of late model racing, and we were able to make the final 15 and the final 7, and then be able to go on and win it.
So when you applied for the program, it was likely similar to what it is today. Hundreds of people apply. You go through an interview process. No doubt your performance is looked at. Your 2021 past modified championship leading into 2022 and then into 23, the season that you were representing Allen all year long. That progression, how much did the Quickie Driver Development Program impart on you to maybe accelerate that program higher or faster or quicker than you
Wow,
anticipated
it was
once you
huge.
became a finalist?
Yeah, it was huge. We had a good year in 21 and 22 and 23, and we kept taking steps, and that was going to be the track. And then, being in the Quickie program for 23, really made us take an even bigger step, to try to do as good as we could do, for the program. So we ended up running, full time weekly at Oxford for the track championship, which was never the plan, because we won it in 22, and that was a lot. And I tell people all the time, like, that year we ran 36 races from April to October, and I think I took the race car to 8 or 9 events that year. So I mean, it was brutal. I do all the work on the cars myself, and by the time you race one Saturday, race one Sunday, get them cleaned on Monday, start getting stuff ready on Tuesday, go to an event of some kind that we did, whether it was a school or a foundation, or go and do some type of community service, and then get ready on, set up the touring car on Thursday and get ready for Friday. It was a lot, but it was so worth it. We had an unbelievable year, and we're able to accomplish so much on the track and accomplish so much off the track. It was just, everything just came together perfectly.
So part of the program is earning points and earning awareness and Allenson legacy. What program or programs did you develop off the racetrack that made those appearances possible or helped out the community you live in?
Yeah, so my brother has autism. So we did a lot with the Maine Autism Society, and we were able to raise $3,900 to go to them. And I took the race car to seven or eight schools in events, all special needs schools. So they got to go check out the car, and hear it run and sit in it and have a great time. And got to go to take the car to the Travis Mills Foundations, where all the veterans come in, for they bring their kids and families for them there to see that. We did an obstacle course for the police department, and just all kinds of backpack raffles and fundraisers and school supplies, and was able to do so much. But what I always told people is, you know like, being in the Quickie program, and even just late model racing in New England, you don't realize how much presence you have. We made a Facebook post on a Monday looking for backpacks, and by Friday we had 50 filled with school
Whoa.
supplies, to bring to the school. So
Yeah.
just stuff like that, you don't really realize, no matter what position you're in, how much you're actually able to do.
The awareness was there for certain. You helped out a lot of people for certain at the racetrack, on the racetrack. You were very impressive in 2023, winning both the past national and the past North championships in 2023, that they be the Pro All Star Series. So there's a lot of big guns aiming at you the entire season, as well as that Oxford season long championship race. When it came to on the track, how did things change for you when you knew you had to get work done? You rolled your car off the trailer, but you also had to represent more than yourself. You also had to be present. You have to be aware if people are coming from the grandstands that say they brought their son or daughter for the first time to the track because they saw the autism awareness program and wanted to see what was going on at the racetrack. How did that affect or help shape your 2023 season as well?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. It definitely changed it. Racing. Racing for championships. changes things, other than just going for wins, and representing Allen changes things in a certain way. I ran second 9 times in 2023. If I wasn't racing for points and representing Allen, I wouldn't have ran second 9 times. So just, that's an example. So, it's just a lot of give and take. Like I got some really good examples. There was a pass race at Oxford in July or early August of 23 leading up to the 250. And I ran second that day with the best car and could have used the guy up a little bit, roughed him up, and didn't, obviously, because that's not really how I race. And then in the 250, a month later, a lap car had lined up third on fresh tires, and I was leading, and the lap car got under me, and he went to kind of fill the hole under me, and I kind of forced my way back to the bottom, and he cut me a break. But that's just an example that I use because, you take from them one day, they're going to take it back another day. So, just kind of that kind of mindset, just the give and take.
And Max, that leads into the opportunities you have now, working with a young driver, winning yet another championship in 2025. Last year, racing some, working with a young team, a family operation. How have things progressed since you carried that big trophy across the stage in Charlotte at the end of 2023?
Yeah, 2024 wasn't the year we wanted, just a lot of trials and tribulations, but this year has been fantastic. All I do is I just work full time on race cars. So I'm worked with a guy at Oxford, running their weekly series full time, and a young kid at Wisconsin, a 15-year-old kid at Wisconsin. We were able to win 5 races this year in the championship and the biggest late model race they have, and get a couple of trophies at Oxford. So it's definitely a change of pace. I do everything right at my shop, so I'm still there every day wrenching on it and at the racetrack more now than when I was racing. Between the testing during the week and definitely at the racetrack Saturday and Sunday. So, I couldn't really see myself doing anything other than what I'm doing now.
It's hard to believe you're doing more now than you did in 2023 with 2 race cars and all the success you had. When it comes to that equipment and the team you had in 2023, are some of those folks still around? Are they still working with you on the team? Are they still working with other teams now that they've actually had success with you and want to go racing as well as passionate as you have?
Yeah, everybody but my crew chief in 2023, my tire guy, and in crew chief, it's still, everybody's there. All my guys, Mike and Nick and Devin and Bo and my girlfriend Sarah and my dad and everybody that's there is, still around. And that's one thing that's cool is, a lot of race teams got guys that have helped different people in the past or whatever. And everybody for me, other than my spotter, all of them are, most of my crew guys live 3 minutes away. They're all just people from town, and it's where we live isn't a big racing town. It used to be back in the day with Unity Raceway. It used to be big, but now it's not. So, all the people, most of them are just from my town, and, we kind of learned everything together, and, they're super, super loyal and super supportive of me, and it's awesome to have them.
It's no doubt representing Pittsfield, Maine, representing the Quickie Cup Championship. Last year and this year, Derek Kluchaki is also a finalist in the Quickie program. He said, "Hey, Max is my guy." I talked to him a bunch. Taylor Hoare is a Fab 5 Underbird this year. She said, "I talked to Max and I really want to know more about the program." They're both in the finalist program in 2025. How much have you nurtured them and others that have asked about the program?
Yeah, I've had, since I was in the program, I've had, lots and lots of people, reach out, and Derek and Taylor's been really cool. I don't know Taylor as much as I do Derek. I've known Derek for probably 10 plus years now. We had a lot of the same friends when we were growing up, and he's had a great year and been able to do a ton off the track, and, have some really good races. 250 weekend was awesome, and he's done an awesome job, and Taylor's had some trials and tribulations, but some good runs, and done a great job off the track. And it's been cool, see more people from New England, wanting to get into the program, because they've seen someone from there, be able to win the program and do a good job at it. So it's been awesome to see them.
You mentioned the 250. That is the big Oxford 250, the biggest race of the year in the Northeast, and it's a crown jewel, no question. 2015 Kawicki Cup champion Ty Majeski just won the Winchester 400 in Indiana, and he said, "I still need to win the Oxford 250." So he's got the mindset. That's a big deal. It's neat to know that you've been able to race in that race a couple times too.
We're all buddies on iRacing with Kyle and the people from Wisconsin, and he just needs Nashville now, and he'll have won everything but the 250 after he gets Nashville. So part of me, I'll be racing. I'll be on a different team than him next week in Nashville, but a little bit will be rooting for me. So hopefully he can get up to Oxford after he gets that one.
Well, I'll see you there in Nashville, no question. I get to call the races on Track TV for the ASA Stars National Tour. I also get to host the show called the Bullring, which airs on Racing America and Track TV. Racing America, a strong partner of the Kawicki Driver Development Program. How about that awareness that you get out of this? And just by showing up, people might go, "Oh, Max is here. I got to go find him." That kind of thing. How much fun is that, knowing as much work as you put into the race, you still get that residual, if you will, involvement with all the friends you got to meet as part of the program?
Yeah, it's awesome. Through the program, I got to meet, so many people and so many connections, and, had a lot of opportunities, to do things, and still have a lot of those, connections and people I can lean on and ask advice for, and, just, what the program stands for, and to have the longevity it's had, and the name and reputation it has. It's just awesome to see. And I know they've been working hard. It's harder than ever to keep it going, and they've been putting in. I know they have been putting in a lot of effort, to be able to keep things going, not only now, but looking 10 years into the future, not just next year. So they've been putting in the work, which is awesome. They've had to change things up a little bit, but it's all for the greater good, and to be able to make things be able to happen.
And Max, when it comes to being involved in the program, the benefits we've described here on this interview, but also more importantly, the next chance to be a Kawicki Cup finalist, a Fab 5 Underbird coming up, would be when the door opens on January 1st, 2026 to apply. What would you say to a young driver that's aspiring to maybe get to be somewhere like Max Cookson's been, where you get the chance to stand on the stage and represent?
Just have a real, solid plan of what you want to do, and, do the best you can on the application, and, be as sincere and honest as you can, and, get attention for the right reasons.
One last question. We're reflecting on 10 years of this program. I got to know Alan Kawicki when he first races Dirt Late Model at my home track. I got to see his first win in Phoenix in the grandstands in '88 in Cup Series. I was at Atlanta in '92 when he won his Cup championship in such a dramatic fashion. I got to be a part of a lot of things after his passing as well. And as that legacy continues, you are the typical guy. You are the guy that does deserve to represent this program, earning your way, learning how it goes. And I think Alan Kawicki and even Paul Andrews, his crew chief, is still a mentor today, will be very proud of what you've been able to accomplish, Max. And it's really cool to know that this will continue to be part of your legacy, part of your program as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that a ton. That means a lot. I definitely feel, in the generation of racing we have, people that, do it all themselves, and, could have a bare frame sitting on jack stands, and a couple weeks later go on the racetrack. Those are running out nowadays, so to do it, the way we did it, with, a family team, and doing everything, what we consider be the right way to do it. It was just awesome, and, memories I'll look back on for forever.
Full-time racer, Max Cookson, 2023 Kawicki Cup champion, joining us here. Max, thanks again for your time. 10 years seems like it's gone by very quickly, but man, it's great to see champions like yourself still representing the Kawicki Championship.
Yeah, thank you, and looking forward to many more years.
Again, the reminder, January 1st, 2026 is when the portal opens to apply for the Kawicki Driver Development Program. Go to KawickiDDP.com to find out more information.